Our question is, what is a good church? We're all looking for one, glad to be a part of one, would like to make ours better. All of those are key ideas, aren't they, for each one of us. Let's take this idea. What is a good church? A very straightforward, standard answer is the church itself is that which preaches the gospel correctly and administers the sacraments. Wow, that's a good foundation, isn't it? And I'm hoping that you found a church that does exactly that. It preaches, well, all of God's Word, but especially has a focus on the gospel, the good news of God's gift of His Son, His righteous life, and His powerful death and resurrection standing in our place. That gospel is the center of what they say. And along with the gospel that's spoken and read, there's a giving of the sacraments, baptism as a washing and a rebirth, the Lord's Supper as a communion between ourselves and God through His body and His blood. Find a church that preaches the gospel in its purity and power. Find a church that celebrates and extends the sacraments. You've got a foundation. But I suspect that this question is really something beyond that. What's a good church? I mean, a great church. A church that gets you excited about being there. I think we could go beyond that first level of definition by adding another. Maybe my particular bent is in this way. I would hold up the fruits of the Spirit. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, self-control. All of those fruits from Galatians 5, I think you would reasonably expect to find. Now, in equal dimension or quantity in every member? No, that would be wonderful, but it's not going to happen. But at least that you would find them. You would find them like a smorgasbord spread around in the body of that church. You would palpably know that this is the kind of place where God's Spirit has created His fruit, and that fruit is there to be shared among the members and to be shared outside. That's another image that I think works with you. And lastly, I'd like to give you a picture that I just experienced a few months ago, about 2 months ago actually, when I entered for the very first time what I thought, and I'm still convinced of it and recognized, is a good church. It was November, and I was asked to come and preach at a church I'd never been to. I drove quite a ways, and I pulled in about 5 o'clock, 5:15 on a Saturday evening. The sun was setting, dusk was settling on us. There was a little light, but it was time to get inside. It was getting dark. I walked into this wonderful church, and as you walk in towards this church, it's all lit up. The stained glass windows are beckoning you in, and you step inside, and that same light is now all around you. There was something about that church. Now, I wish I could bring for you the stained glass windows themselves. I can't do that. So, next best thing, well, at least at a try, Christmas lights. Picture, if you would, with me. Oh, and by the way, you could just feel the warmth. These little things are warm as I'm holding them. The brightness, the warmth, the something special of Christmas lights is the image I'd like to give you. It seems to me a church ought to have this sort of light. It should be a light that from the outside welcomes. On a darkening evening, the church should stand out in its neighborhood as this place of light, literally and figuratively, a place that draws you in. And then when you come inside that church, a new light, a truly warm light. Again, I can't emphasize enough, these really are warm as you're holding them. You should feel the warmth of the light when you step inside that congregation. And that light, and this is the reason I brought Christmas lights, ought to look just a little different from any other light. Church isn't just another social club, just another place you can eat, not just another place you can make connections that'll be useful in school or business. We could do that kind of light experience anywhere. The lights of the church, like Christmas lights, ought to be distinct so that you recognize something's different about this place, this light, these people. Let it shine outside on a dark night and draw people in. Let it surround people when they're inside. And let everyone know there's something different about the light in this place. I hope you found a good church. I know they're there. I certainly find one that I stepped into that day, and I'm glad to go back to it. What's a good church? Find one that centers on the gospel, that shares and celebrates the sacraments, that shares the fruits of the Spirit, a place of light that welcomes and warms.